Hello everyone. Today we will review the God of War 2018 version. God of War is an action-adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. The game was released for the PlayStation 4 in April 2018, with a Windows port released in January. If you wanted me to briefly summarize God of War, the only word that would come out of my keyboard would be epic. The adventure of Kratos and his son Atreus, which you will accompany for more than 30 hours, will take you from the calm waters of Midgard to the spit-freezing cold of Helheim. It will take you from the battlefields where giants and gods fight to the caves filled with the terrible smell of the abominable creatures emerging from hell. Along the way, you will witness many legends from Scandinavian mythology and raise dust in cursed lands that should not be set foot on. Most importantly, when you complete this incredible epic, you will think about the adventure you experienced and say to yourself, "This is one of the best games I have ever played in my life." If you followed the press cycle of God of War, you may think you know many features and story details about the game. After spending dozens of hours with the game, I discovered many side missions, activities, story details, and gameplay mechanics that the developer Santa Monica Studio kept secret. I don't want to go into the story too much in this article, so as not to undermine your enjoyment of the game. All you need to know is that Kratos and Atreus have to climb to the highest peak in the 9 realms for some reason. God of War is a complete game in every sense. What surprises me the most is that the series, which has a unique main character and action-packed gameplay, was able to produce such a successful game despite taking such a different path. There are 2 features that reinforce this change. The first is the storytelling that brings the adventure of Kratos and his son to our screens. Kratos is not the epitome of perfection. He is a wounded soul who carries, literally, the scars of the life he left behind. When he left one mythological land behind and came to another, his only purpose was to live a quiet life. Although he realized this wish for a while with his wife Faye and son Atreus, for some reasons he finds himself alone with Atreus, with whom he cannot establish a father-son relationship. Atreus is a boy who was educated by his mother and knows how to take care of himself despite his young age. But her relationship with Kratos consists of following his orders. God of War does not shy away from confronting the innocent people that the old Kratos destroyed in his path of anger. Even though Kratos tries to open a clean page in his life, he cannot hide the traces of ink leaking from the back page. Here is the detail that will put God of War into the curriculum under the name of storytelling in games. Kratos is destructive and damaging. His hatred for the gods has destroyed everything in his life. When she looks at Atreus, she sees less a son than a war machine that needs polishing and oiling. But as the father and son's adventure takes them to unimaginable places and unpredictable situations, the bond between Kratos and Atreus grows tighter. While Kratos teaches Atreus how to survive, Atreus brings out the humanity in him. In this aspect, the game reminded me of the Ellie-Joel bond in The Last of Us. Forget the absurd fight sequences of old games where you kill dozens of enemies at the same time and Kratos' camera that is set back meters. The new God of War doesn't deal with that. One of the most important features of this game is that it reflects the adventure of Kratos and Atreus and the bond between them on the screen in the most naked and striking way. To do this, the combat mechanics and camera need to be a little more personal. Now the camera is right behind Kratos and the fights are more personal. This individuality is also supported by the game's single-shot camera style. After pressing New Game at the beginning of the game, the camera does not cut to either a cutscene or the loading screen. The entire game makes you feel as if you are playing through the eyes of someone who witnessed the adventure of Kratos and Atreus firsthand. This choice supported both storytelling and combat mechanics wonderfully. With his shield in one hand and his axe in the other, Kratos destroys dozens of different enemies. Don't worry about only having a weapon, or is it, in your hand. The game's detailed skill system will give Kratos countless combos and new fighting features he can use. Every enemy you kill during your journey increases your total XP, and you get new skills by spending this XP. Using XP points, you can use Kratos' axe, Leviathan's melee, and ranged combat abilities. You can customize your shield and Rage of Sparta capacity. Since the game distributes plenty of XP, if you care about side missions and exploration, you can easily unlock all the features before it is too late. With the extra skills you can get for Leviathan, you have a chance to turn the axe into a freezing killing machine. But the sweetest part of the combat system is the runic attacks you add to your axe. Think of these as high damage special skills that you use every 40-50 seconds. Each attack has its own damage, ice and stun effect levels. With one attack, Kratos can hit Leviathan to the ground 3 times and inflict high damage on the other side, while with another attack, he can freeze everyone in front of him. You use these attacks, which are divided into light and heavy, by pressing R1 and R2. It's your choice to decide which attacks fit your playstyle and which ones are worth improving. Kratos' biggest helper in fights is, of course, his son Atreus. Although at first he only serves to distract the enemies with his arrows, in the later stages of the game, he reaches a level where he can kill enemies on his own with his improved features and new arrow types. Imagine a fight scene like this. There are 2 explosives, a Draugr with a shield, and 2 wolves. The Draugr on the hill is also busy raining fire on Kratos. Kratos first swings the Leviathan at the enemy on the hill and freezes it. As the explosives rush towards him, he asks Atreus to shoot a shock arrow at them. Standing in front of those shaken by shock and adjusting his angle, Kratos calls the Leviathan back, killing both the Draugr on top and the explosives in the path of the axe. As the wolves run towards him, he jumps into the air, knocking Leviathan to the ground and freezing everyone around him. Meanwhile, the shield-wielding Draugr trying to attack from behind is neutralized for a short time when Atreus jumps on its back and stabs it. After killing the wolves with his bare hands, Kratos activates Rage of Sparta and makes the Axemen regret leaving Hell. This is just one of the scenarios you can uncover with the game's wide and varied combat mechanics. In addition to customizable fighting styles, enemy diversity ensures that fights never become monotonous. During the 30 hours I spent in the game, I entered hundreds of fights, large and small, but I was never bored even once. The game is always expanding its enemy pool with enemies with different characteristics. Although most of these are variations of each other on paper, mechanically they manage to make me use every feature at Kratos' disposal.
jag trollet ut på dörren sprang. Hon rister och jämrar sig svåra. Hade jag fått den fagerungersvän så hade jag mistat min plåga. Hermannelig, tro loven i mig. För det jag bjuder så jag